Hey everyone, let's look at number 10 in section 3.1. We're going to use the limit definition to compute the derivative of this function, f of x equals 6x cubed at x equal 1. Now, there are two limit definitions at a point for the derivative. Limit definitions for the derivative. So f prime of a could be the limit as h goes to 0, f of a plus h minus f of a over h, or the alternative form, limit is f prime of a is the limit as x approaches a, f of x minus f of a over x minus a. I'm going to do both of these just so you can see the difference. You don't have to use both. You only have to use one of them. They don't tell you which one to use. On the test, I will have you use both of these, but I'll tell you which one to use. I'll give it to you, so make sure you're clear on how both of these work. So the first one, of course, the value of a is 1, right? So it's at x equal a. What's a? A is 1. So f prime of 1 would be the limit as h goes to 0. F of a plus h is f of 1 plus h, minus f of a is f of 1 over h. Now, what is f of 1 plus h? Well, I replace x here with 1 plus h, and I get 6 times the quantity 1 plus h cubed. What's f of 1? Well, if I plug 1 in here, clearly I get 6 times 1 cubed is 6. Okay, so there it is. Again, if I plug in right now, I'm going to get 0 over 0, right? The form of this limit is indeterminate, so I've got work to do. So what I'm going to do is expand 1 plus h. Hopefully you know how to expand 1 plus h by now. Cubing it means multiplying by itself 3 times. So foiling here, I get first is 1, outer is h, inner is h, last is h squared. So I get 1 plus 2h plus h squared. And then I multiply every term here by every term here. So the 1 times 1, the 1 times h, 2h times 1, 2h times h squared times 1, h squared times h gives me h cubed. Combine like terms and I get that. You can also use, I give you the algebra trig help sheet, and the expansion formulas are given for x plus y cubed, x minus y cubed. I mean, you can use these, of course. In this case, you would replace x with 1 and h or y with h. You can expand that. At any rate, there's the expansion right there. I'm going to plug that in right there for the 1 plus h cubed. Now be careful here, the 6 is out here, so I need to distribute this 6 through, multiplying every term by 6. And when I do so, I get the following up here. And then, of course, 6 minus 6, I can simplify, and I'm just left with this. Here, I'm just going to factor out an h. I could factor out a 6h, but I just factor out an h, leaving 18 plus 18h plus 6h squared. And now h divided by h. H is now a factor up top, so I can divide top and bottom by h. And now I plug in h equals 0 into what's in the parentheses here. And notice that these two terms will go to 0 if h is 0, and I'm just left with 18. So the limit is 18. Okay, so that's using this first limit definition. What about this one over here? Well, now it's going to look like this. Again, f prime of a is 1 equals the limit as x approaches 1, f of x minus f of 1 over x minus 1. F of x is 6x cubed. Remember, f of 1, if I plug in 1, I get 6. Okay, so here I factor out the 6, and I'm left with x cubed minus 1. Well, now up here we had to expand 1 plus h quantity cubed. Here we need to factor the x cubed minus 1. This is the difference of cubes, and there's a difference of cubes formula on your help sheet. You should know this bottom one right here, and I'm just going to use that formula to factor x cubed minus 1. So that's x cubed minus 1 cubed. So the y here is 1. And so it's x minus y, or x minus 1, times the quantity x squared. X times y, remember y is 1, so x times y is just x. And then plus y squared plus 1 squared, which is 1. So this is the factored form of x cubed minus 1. Okay, so I'm just going to replace that expression x cubed minus 1 here, our problem, with all of that. There it is, times the 6. And notice now this x minus 1 is a factor in the numerator. Also in the denominator, I can divide top and bottom by x minus 1. And I'm just left with this. I can plug in directly x equal 1. 1 squared is 1. And I get 6 times 3, which is 18. Excuse me. So I do get the same thing in both cases, as we should. And that's the slope, right? That's f prime 1. That's the slope of our tangent line to the graph of the function f of x equals 6x cubed at x equal 1. The second part of this problem is to find an equation of the tangent line to the graph of f at x equal 1. Well, the point is 1 comma f of 1 or 1 comma 6. The slope we just found, right, is 18. Using this point slope form, I'll plug in these values and then I'll solve for y. And this is my equation. Always check your equation, make sure it passes through the point. So when x is equal to 1, notice I get 18 minus 12, which is 6. So it does pass through this point. And the slope of this line is 18, which is the slope of our tangent line. Okay, I hope this is helpful for you on number 10 in section 3.1.